Corporation ceases to exist as it does.
By the way, if they're superior, why land in New Mexico and say not Washington? Nothing against New Mexico.
Well, they didn't land. They crashed in New Mexico, but at the time, New Mexico was one of the few places that had an atomic bomb dropped on it. It was a place of high-level atomic research. It was also a place where they were doing rocket research.
Philip, are you a debunker of all UFO stories?
Well, I've looked for explanations. Now, he talked about the fact that it was top secret. All right, here is a copy, and he's familiar. It appeared on the in the UFO Journal here. This is a top secret assessment made December 10th, 1948 by the top Air Force Navy intelligence. It was released only several years ago. And what they say is, we don't know. We've been getting UFO reports. Conceivably, they say it might be a super top secret American secret that even we don't know about. But they say more likely it is secret Russian reconnaissance vehicles built and designed by the very fine German scientists that the Russians had captured.
You don't question that something strange happened in New Mexico?
I only question, well, what was recovered was a radar target, balloon board.
That is the cover story that was put out. We know it was a cover story based on the testimony of the people who put out the cover story.
Joining us by phone is Dr. Jesse Marcel Jr., the son of Jesse Marcel, the Army intelligence officer who claimed he recovered the debris of the Roswell crash. Doctor, you were 11 years old at that time, right?
I guess I was.
What did your father tell you?
Well, he woke my mother and myself up very late one night, and he wanted us to look at what he had hauled in from the desert. And I helped him unload the material from the car. There were several boxes of this metallic debris. We brought it inside the house and tried to lay it on the kitchen floor to make some sense out of any arrangement or structural members there were.
Well, what did it feel like?
It was metallic, foil-like debris, kind of dull, as I recall, but that's been 44 years ago.
It wasn't a balloon.
No, sir. Well, you've seen weather balloons before, plus the radar target.
This is a radar target reflector that he's described it here. What did your father think it was?
He, at that time, did not know what it was. He did not have any idea. He knew it was not a weather balloon or a radar target.
He knew that.
That was part of his training. He had a lot of training radar, and this was not what that was, I assure you.
Well, 11 years is an age of curiosity. Didn't you keep questioning him?
Well, we did talk about it at length later, and I must say that extraordinary events like this trigger extraordinary memory, where you do recall a lot of details that you would not normally have.
And you're saying you believe Kevin?
I believe Kevin, sure do. The nature of the material that we saw, I guess the most startling aspect of this was the I-beam fragment that had hieroglyphic type writing across it. I recall the color, I discussed this years later with my dad. He agreed the color was violet purple. This was in Predator involved on the inner surface of these I-beam type fragments.
Philip, you would think you're an aviation specialist. You've written for Aviation Magazine like for years. Or did you want to pick this up? You're not saying Jesse's lying.
Let me say that there are three principles. First-hand witnesses, two of them are dead. The third one is living, and this is a man named Sheridan Cabot. Will you give us his address and telephone number, or at least his address? Maybe your staff can call Cabot, and let's get him on. He was not only at the base, he went out with Marcel to the site.
What does he say?
He doesn't even quote him in the book.
What does he say?
Actually, we do quote Cabot in the book. We quote him a number of times in the book.
73.
And he denies it?
He denies that he was there at the base first. We finally proved to him that he was at the base. He concedes that he was at the base. He doesn't remember a thing about this. He said it never happened. It was not in the newspaper. In other words, he's part of the cover-up.
You're not saying nothing happened that day, are you?
No, what I'm saying is,
didn't come home.
Why not ask Philip if he's interviewed any of the witnesses?
I have interviewed those who are familiar with the hard evidence.
Have you interviewed any of the witnesses to the Roswell crash? Any of them?
No.
No.
Walter, what convinced you was the commanding officer's attitude? Does it convince you, Walt?
I think the thing that convinced me that it was a flying object was just Marcel more than anybody else, and that was quite a number of years afterward.
Coming up next, the U.S. congressman who's trying to uncover the mystery of Roswell.
started receiving letters a little over 2 years ago from constituents stating that they believe the government was covering up what happened at Roswell. Many of them clearly believed that it was, in fact, an extraterrestrial crash. Others simply didn't believe the weather balloon story. That didn't necessarily mean they did believe there was
A crash with dead bodies of extraterrestrials.
Some people believe that. But what all the letters had in common, whether they stated their own beliefs or not, is that they didn't believe the weather balloon story given by the Air Force. And as I looked at it, that was not a believable story, and the Air Force recently disavowed that part of it.
What do you now and does this government now conclude?
In September of 1994, the Air Force released a new report where they said it was not a weather balloon. They took that off the table. And they stated that instead it was a balloon, but it was a different kind of balloon. It was apparently larger for high altitude flight with kind of detection devices to see if the Soviet Union was exploding nuclear weapons in the atmosphere.
You accept that?
Well, I kind of stay away from my conclusion. I think my official role is to try to get government records. I would say this much, though. In fact, I have to, one quick moment for New Mexico, the Albuquerque Journal reported that I did accept it as a mistake. I never
So
did.
you do not accept it?
Well,
No rejected?
I'm open-minded. I would say this much, though, very briefly. The weather balloon story never made sense because there was clearly and undisputed, in my mind, extra military attention to this matter, to extra security around the crash scene, to special handling of whatever the debris was. That could fit a classified project that doesn't fit a weather balloon.
Do you believe that Miss Matthews and that Mr. Strieber were abducted? Do you believe that something crashed at Roswell, New Mexico, and that there were bodies there from somewhere else?
Can I do A, part of the above, B, part of the above?
You made two from column A, one from column
I
B.
think Miss Matthews, Strieber absolutely believe that they've been abducted by aliens. And I'm not going to say that they're crazy. And I'm certainly not going to say that this is part of a cult. I think Phil Klass does them all a disservice, and including the people who are doing research into this field. As for Roswell, all I can say is when I was in Congressman Schiff's area in Albuquerque, when I was pushing the book, over and over again, I had people come up to me who had said, my uncle, when he was a kid, was invited out to look at the debris field, and he said he saw this stuff, and 20 years later, when I asked him, was it true, he said, yeah. Or the sheriff who was kidded about, well, Harry, did you see the little green men? And Harry would then say, they weren't green. I mean, the elusiveness of this phenomenon is so extraordinary. There's always this bubble that you just think you have hold of it, and all of a sudden it pops.
Were you a doubter who now doesn't doubt anymore regarding Roswell?
I think Roswell is the holy grail of this phenomenon. I would really like to know what happened in Roswell. I recently saw stills from the alleged autopsy film that was made of the alien beings there, and they didn't look like aliens to me. So, I mean, once again, just as you think you have something you can go on, it effervesces.
I just wanted to add that once it became public that I had gotten involved in this record search, quite a number of New Mexicans, maybe this would be true elsewhere, but I live in New Mexico, quite a number of New Mexicans came up to me and said, for years, my family has wondered what really happened down there. So I heard a lot of what Ray just said.
And would you say, Congressman, that most Americans kind of believe something's out there?
Most Americans don't believe they were told the full story by the government. Again, that's split between those who say, therefore, it's extraterrestrial from outer space, and those who say that there's still some other explanation. But I have to tell you plainly, Larry, that when I decided to look into this, I took a deep breath because, some of the repercussions were obvious. But it's been, the reaction has been universally positive.
More of the history of Roswell when we return.
They have not explained why they had to cover up to be in 1994. If their explanation was this was a then classified project, then I can understand that in 1947. But the Soviet Union has come and gone during those decades, much less our knowing they had nuclear capability. So what took so long is something they haven't explained?
I was a Secretary of the Air Force, and it was my responsibility to defend the skies, and I couldn't do any better job than they seem to be doing with these objects dashing in and out and plucking people from their beds, allegedly. And I would deny it. I deny that it was going on at all.
When you talk to the Department of Defense, what do they tell you?
Well, the first thing they did was just send me to another agency, the National Archives. And they did that twice in a row. And I then went to the National Archives, and the National Archives said, we don't have any information about Roswell. And by the way, they had an interesting note at the end. They said, for some reason, we received a lot of requests to the National Archives. And I think I'm not terribly surprised that the Defense Department is sending anyone there. That's the point where I felt pretty upset, because I thought I was pretty clearly getting a runaround.
Something's not ringing
The
true.
Defense Department must have known when they sent me to the National Archives there was nothing there.
Next, personal stories of UFO abductions.
When I'm inside of a ship, I have medical procedures performed on me, and I have the surgical scars to prove it afterwards.
How long have you been a patient for?
I first contacted John in November of 1992.
Why did you think you needed psychiatric help?
I didn't think I needed psychiatric help. I needed someone who really believed that this was happening. I needed someone who was doing active research on the subject matter. I've been having experiences for most of my life, and I had no doubt what was going on. It was simply hard to find someone to talk to about it that had an open mind.
Before we hear the story, what turned you?
I first, did you have a close one? When I first heard about Fred Hopkins, this painter in New York who took seriously the stories of people who reported being brought up into spacecraft by alien beings, I thought there must be something wrong with this man, and he must be describing some new form of mental illness. But then when I went to visit him and heard the stories that he was telling me, began to see the people myself, and now have worked with approximately 90 people who have had these experiences. What is extraordinary about it is the consistency of the stories among people who are of sound mind, who come forth very reluctantly, as Marion has, who doubt their own stories, who describe what they've gone through with great emotion.
Are you saying then, Doctor, that it happened to them, or that they firmly believe it happened to them?
Again, they're hoping to maybe re-examine all of these notions of happened, didn't happen. For them, it is completely real, and it is not the product of mental illness. Now, whether it happened altogether in this reality, I don't know. But it shows up in their world. They're seen to be missing by witnesses at the time, so something is occurring that is entering our world.
It's been happening to you a long time. Can you give us a typical happening? What happened next to you?
Oh, it was never a typical happening.
What was the last one?
The last one was April 11th.
This year?
That's correct.
What happened?
Well, I had a visit from several beings, and there were also several beings present at the
Now,
time.
these beings came through the door.
Very often, no, they don't come through the door. Very often, with my experiences, they literally materialize in front of my eyes.
You don't see a spaceship.
I have been inside of ships. I never get to see them from the outside. I'm always from the inside.
How do you get in?
Usually, I am transported through a window.
And why do they come to you? Do they converse with you? Do they communicate with you?
I think there's more communication now than there used to be.
What are they telling you?
Well, they're telling you a lot of things. One of the things they've told me consistently is that they care, that they're not here treating us as guinea pigs or human experiments, but there is some level of concern on their part for our well-being.
This is said in English by people who look like what?
This is said telepathically. Most of the communication that transpires between myself and them is telepathic.
Isn't that the first trick a psychiatrist says, mental illness? I'm hearing things telepathically. The radio is talking to me. People are telling me what to do. I'm hearing voices.
You might think so, but in these cases, these people have been examined by myself. They've been tested psychologically. They are of above average intelligence. They are sound mind. They've been shown as of superior mental functioning by the testers. So there is not indication of any kind of psychiatric condition that can account for this that I've been able to
Do
find.
you, Mary, telepathically respond back to them?
Yes, I do.
Have you ever asked them the basic, simple question? Find your land at the way.
No, I haven't asked for that. My concern is why do you come here to see me?
And what do they say?
The answer is because we can.
Okay, but why did you ever ask them why they didn't go see Madame Albright? Or why they didn't go see...
I wish they'd go see everyone. I wish they'd go see
Why
everyone.
would they come here now?
Yeah. I wish they'd go see everyone because then more people would have the opportunity to experience what people like myself are.
Why do you think they don't materialize here?
I think that perhaps the society is not ready for this.
But you are?
Well, I'm reluctantly ready for it. This has been happening most of my life, and there's no way to get away from it. So for people like me, we're sort of forced to deal with it.
And Mary's story is like a lot of other stories.
It's a very characteristic story.
The beings appear.
In fact, when one abductee hears the story of another abductee, they react with shock because they don't want to believe it's true. They would rather believe it's a dream or a form of mental illness than that this is something real because it's so shattering to their notion of reality. And that's happened over and over again among the people I've been working with.
You travel on the ship?
Yes, I have. We're in the ship. We don't go anywhere else that I know of. Usually, when I'm inside of a ship, I have medical procedures performed on me, and I have the surgical scars to prove it afterwards.
Can you show us them?
They're not in the place where I'm going to show you.
Do they attempt sexuality with you?
No, all of the procedures that I have had done that involve the reproductive organs have been medical procedures. I have been lying on a table, another human has been lying on a table, and eggs have been extracted from my ovaries. That's happened repeatedly throughout my life.
You're scared of this?
Yes, I'm petrified.
What age did it start?
Age 7.
They didn't have ovaries then.
No, at age 7, I think it was a little less traumatic to deal
Mary,
with.
you ever take pictures?
Of them?
Yeah.
No. I have audio tapes, though. I make audio tapes in my room. Yes, I
Okay, I
do.
think we're going to show something here. And then you tell us what we're going to see if they put it up to control. What is this, a drawing?
Basically, I've been doing some surrealistic drawings just to help myself come to grips with what's happening to me. And I do different paintings of different beings. I use a lot of very bright colors. I try to make them a little bit more palatable to me, and I paste them all over my bedroom wall. It's sort of right. It's sort of my way of acknowledging what's happening to me. I spent the bulk of my life running away from it, the bulk of my life hiding it from everyone else. And I think now is the time to sort of come out about this. And the artwork is my way of expressing something that's been really buried deeply for a long
What's that on
time.
the side?
The symbols, I have no idea what they are.
They drew them?
No.
Well, you drew them,
I
but you
don't.
don't know why you did it.
I don't know why it's done. No. But I think they're very important.
What does it all mean, Dr. Mack?
Well, one of the reasons is I don't know what it means. It's some kind of invitation to us to accept another reality. That's one of the things that's going on. What this breeding, what this taking of eggs, taking of sperm from the moon, what this creation of these hybrid beings is about, what the aliens will tell us is that it has something to do with evolution, that we're moving to another level of creation.
You are a psychiatrist. You therefore an MD. You examined Mary.
Have I done a physical examination of Mary? No, I haven't, but
Why
I've
not?
seen...
Didn't you want
But I have, no, I have looked in the case of many abductees who have marks on their body or scoop marks, or in the case of one man who had a number of these lesions in a symmetrical arrangement, and the critics will often say, well, they're self-inflicted. This man happens to be a quadriplegic, and he can't...
Have you seen the science?
I've been analyzing the implant that came from the nose of one of the people I've been working with. I thought at one time the implants would give us that smoking gun of proof that our Western mind likes to have so much. But what I find is that the implants, and others have found this too, are not made of some strange, bizarre metal that's going to give us that proof. That this is
Your OBGNY help.
Has my doctor helped?
Can he say publicly some things that Mary has, nobody has?
I think that he's always been very confused about some of the things I've gone on with him, and for a long time I didn't tell him what was happening. I've had about 6 ovarian cysts, all of which have come after encounters with these beings.
More stories of abduction when we return.
Small being, very thin, very large black eyes.
Terry Matthews is not her real name, and she's using the pseudonym and wearing glasses to protect her identity. Why?
Well, there are a lot of horror stories about people who have come forward and talked about this subject before. And
Oh, so it's like
Having shows use people's real name has cost people jobs and harassment of their children.
When people get fired because they say this happened to you.
Ridiculed, harassed.
You have been on these kind of trips against your will for how long?
I believe that I have been since I was a child.
When you say I believe that I have been, have you or haven't you? I know I flew a plane last week. I don't believe I flew a plane. I know I did.
I know that I have. For a long time, I suspected it. There were too many things that happened when I was a child that were not normal, and I thought they were.
Things that now happen to your children as well?
Yes.
You have how many children?
Okay.
Are you married?
No, not me.
Was your husband a believer?
We didn't discuss this.
Was it a cause of stress in the marriage?
Probably.
Tell me your earliest memory of being abducted. What happened?
My earliest memory was, well, there are suspicions about age 5, but my earliest
Actual memory.
actual memory is when I was 9. And I was in my bedroom playing with my paper dolls. And I believed at the time that my father was walking into the room. And what it was not my father. It was a gray.
A what?
A gray.
What do you mean by that?
A small being, very thin, very large black eyes.
Called a gray by you?
Yes.
For want of a better bill of gray.
Yes.
One person?
I saw one. But at the same time, I saw an image of my father.
Behind him?
I saw them both in the room, and then they came together.
What did you do?
I didn't react at all, which was unusual.
Didn't scream? Didn't yell?
No, there's a lot of control that they exert over us. You don't act appropriately.
Because they're exerting control.
Right.
Do they take you places? If you're an abductee, they have to, right?
Yes.
Where to?
The coming and going is not always clear. There have been abductions that I have felt as if I was going through a tunnel, almost shaped like a funnel. It's very fast, there's a lot of light. Sometimes it's a big black void.
Any method of
But
travel? Ship? Anything?
I do end up in a place where there are hallways and waiting rooms and examination rooms.
Are you spoken to?
I understand and know what they're saying to me. I don't hear words.
You're transmitting this through
Yes, telepathy or whatever.
what kind of experiments?
Gynecological, reproductive. There are some that I don't understand completely what they were doing to me. At one point, one of them, when I was 9, I believe, or 10, reached in and held my heart.
When was the last time you were abducted?
I suspect, I haven't had an opportunity to examine it, but about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Well, explain to me between suspect and examine.
There is physical evidence sometimes
You see
that
that?
can't be explained, right? That can't be explained.
You mean they leave something?
Sometimes it's being conscious and seeing something unusual in your bedroom, like a circle of energy, or sometimes it's having your pajamas on inside out.
Coming up next, a story of abduction that was made into a feature movie. What happened, Travis? In your own words, briefly.
Okay, well, it was just another day. Yeah, just another work day out in the woods, cutting trees.
This is where?
In Siegfried National Forest, Arizona. There were 7 of us. It was starting to get dark. We loaded up our chainsaws and
You're a logger.
yeah. Then we were headed home. As we were leaving there, we saw a light coming through the trees. And When we finally got down the road where we could see the source of his light, we saw a UFO hovering near the road.
All seven of them.
All seven of us. It was only 90 feet away. It was very clear and unmistakable. The minute they came to view, somebody yelled, it's a spaceship, something like that. We stopped the truck, and they got out and went toward it. Not just you, not the other six. Not the other six. They were yelling at me to get back in the truck and get away from me. Quick thinking. You know, it would have been. Anyway, as I got closer to it, it started to move and started, the sound started to get louder. And that scared me. I got down behind some cover there. And the enemy truck was screaming at me to get away from that. So, I raised up to go, and I was hit. It felt like a physical blow, and I blacked out. The men in the truck said they saw a powerful bolt of energy come out of the bottom of the craft and hit me. It said it just looked like a grenade went off in front of me. It said it threw me through the air about 10 feet.
You were watching this, right, Mike?
Yes. And they said I hit the ground running, and they thought it had killed me. So
that, you know, I had a fright too.
yeah.
Now, what happened to you? What do you remember?
I was missing for 5 days and 6 hours before I woke up on the roadway outside of Heber. That's a little town near the weather town.
Do you have lots of memories of those 5 days?
Not lots, actually less than 20 minutes. It's a very difficult thing to recall.
Did you go somewhere with them?
Yes, apparently.
To, I don't know, take off? And do you remember taking off?
When I was returned, I saw it take off.
When you were returned, you saw it leave?
Yes.
But you don't remember it leaving with you in it?
No, I regained consciousness on board the craft.
Or you were on board the craft? You remember that?
Yeah.
What do they want with you?
I don't know. That's, what I remember seems to be so much like a fragment or something that, it's just very difficult to make any sense of what they look like. They looked like, well, they were 4 or 5 feet tall, humanoid looking, hairless creatures, with very large eyes.
Male, female?
Can't really tell.
Do they talk?
No, you never said a word. You never said a word. They didn't. Well, I don't know. I just regained consciousness, and as soon as I saw them, I just flipped out and became hysterical and pushed them away from me and lashed out at him. So whatever was going on was while I was unconscious.
What shape were you in 5 days later?
I was in pretty bad shape. I had missed a medical test that suggested that there wasn't starvation. As I say that, if you haven't had any food for 5 days, the ketones or acetones will show up in a sample. But there were in the sample, so they were thinking that probably there must have been some sort of nutrition. But that's disputable.
What did you think, Mike, when you saw all this?
From where?
Watching the bullet come down and hit him.
Well, all the guys described this thing that hit him as being a very powerful bolt of energy, a blue flame. It's been described as many things by the guys there. When it hit him, it was powerful enough to knock him back. I mean, it was like you said, like an explosion going off in front of him. Why'd you lose? It was blind panic. I didn't have time to think. I mean, we were already
They
there.
wanted to get Travis.
Yeah, after I had left, I was driving the truck, and after I had gone down the road about a quarter of a mile, then I was thinking. And I had time to think, to stop what I'd done.
Did you go back?
Yeah, after a hysterical sort of a discussion among us,
What happened when you went back?
he wasn't there.
No, was he?
And no, it wasn't.
From CNN International, American Edition, a daily roundup of the latest news, business, and weather forecast. Reported live and updated 3 times each day. Watch for the next American edition. Do visitors from the unknown really exist? Or are they just a collective daydream? The question still remains. Are we alone in the universe?
And it looked like there's a hieroglyphic type writing written along the inside surface of the pattern. No earlobe, they have 2 ears now. 2 very small orchestras, with the concave nose. Oh yeah, it's a record cover up there.
A military town and Air Force base, home to America's 509 bomb group, a tight-knit community of soldiers and civilians in the heart of rural America. In the summer of 1947, the whole of America was gripped by a wave of sightings of flying saucers. In Roswell, there were many witnesses to a strange light in the sky.
But it was just going in the Northland Ocean with a pretty rapid stream, nothing like a falling star or a meteorite. As far as my friends didn't look, I reckon it was very long in the time. When you had to look to the side of it, it's like looking into a black hole.
William Woody was 61, a pig farmer who works for the local bus company in Rogers. He remembers to this day the light he saw in the sky on the night of the 4th of July, 1947.
First 50 years of life, that's the first time I ever seen something like that. Because it was tough one morning, in the car, out 285, just getting to locally. They were heading through the path off the highway, was blocked off with the first place in. It was going up in the transportation, over there to the out of the building. East or west off the highway.
On the Foster Ranch, 75 miles northwest of Roswell, Mac Razzle, a farmhand, was on his daily round when he came across some strange material scattered in the field. His sheep refused to go near it. Unable to identify what it was, Razzle traveled 20 miles to show his nearest neighbor what he had found. Loretta Proctor was 83 and still lived on the same ranch near Corona, north of Roswell. She remembers Razzle riding on horseback with a collection of strange material.
He took it like plastic or wood of some kind, and he said that they were some metallic looking stuff that when you cut, you get straight right back out. And there was some beams or something that he said had kind of purple printing on it. Well, we told him it was probably a UFO and he should report it.
Razzle took her advice and traveled into Roswell town with a strange vehicle. He reported his find to the sheriff of Charlotte County. Sheriff Dorf Wilcox immediately notified the local authorities. The Roswell Army Airfield was home in 509, American-lead bomb group which had dropped the atomic bomb on the town. As the only atomic bomb squadron in the world, it was surrounded by the highest levels of security. The 509 Air Intelligence Officer was Major Jesse Marcel. He was assigned to investigate material that Razzle had brought in. Marcel drove out to Foster Ranch to collect some of his children. That night, he brought it back to his house to show his wife and son.
We flew back real late one night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, as I recall. Very excited because both myself and my mother up to the town first of UFO flying saucer type. And they wanted me to see it because it was such an unusual type of finding.
Dr. Jesse Marcel Jr. himself retired, Colonel and State Service in Montana Air Force Reserve. In 1947, he was 12 years old, but he didn't even remember the extraordinary nature of the material he saw that night in Montana.
As I recall, the most unusual part of the experience was the eyes being bright, or what I would call it, blue eyes, because they were very light, very strong, and they had some lighting on the entire surface. And that was really such a support thing for that.
And wire and his colleagues in the Roswell Fire Brigade were also there. The firemen had shown some remarkable material with curious properties. Wire's daughter Frankie was in the station at the time and remembered what it was.
When I walked up, I couldn't feel a picture of it. That was real weird. Drop it on the table and it's just like water.
Meanwhile, Major Marcel brought the material he recovered back to Roswell Army Airfield, where the commanding officer, Colonel Butch Blanchard, surprisingly ordered his public information officer, First Lieutenant Walter Hardin, to issue an astonishing statement to the press.
I was instructed by Colonel Blanchard to put out a press release, which in effect stated that we had in our possession a flying saucer. In essence, it said that we have in our possession a flying disc. It picked up on a ranch like the northwest of Roswell, brought into town by Max Razzle, a ranch foreman, and the material was flown to higher headquarters of the Air Force, General Raymond.
It was an announcement that stunned the world. The London Daily Telegraph reported that although no details were given of the car, the Air Force claimed that it was a flimsy construction, like a box knife. A small town in America had become the center of the world's attention.
Tremendous amount of excitement. Here I am, a little country editor in a small city in New Mexico, talking to Paris and Rome, London, Brookville, all of them, and full afternoon. And I know that the counterparts of the around the paper and outlet there with Sam. There's a lot of excitement.
America was transfixed. Radio networks issued hourly bulletins. This is an actual bulletin of the time.
July 8th, 27. The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say that it rolled out sometime last week. It was expected in Roswell, New Mexico, and Ohio.
Major Marcel blown samples of the material for the Texas to head forth to the Air Force. Here, the story would take a remarkable turn. General Roger Raymond, commanding officer there, called a press conference in the office. In front of photographers, he invited Major Marcel to display the material he had brought in Roswell. The base duty weather officer was also ordered to attend, to explain to the press precisely what Major Marcel was holding in his hand.
The general said, you're absolutely my office. We got something there we want you to look at. And so it says if you've got a car fine, if you're not going to get one, get the first means of transportation and get over to my office. And when I saw that, I said, is that your flying saucer? And they said, yeah. And I said, well, hell no, that's a radio target and balloon. And if it is, I use it without all the effective. I know what that is. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. This is what I would like to show you. So
here, this is the photograph of the debris that was seen in General Range Office at Fargo Air Force Base in Fort Worth, Texas. This is my father holding up what is very obviously parts of radar target with balloon debris. In here you see false wood fragments. You have actually parts of the balloon envelope itself, and you have what looks like paperback metal foil. And to emphasize this, this is not what was seen on the floor of our kitchen that evening or that early morning hours of 1947.
The implication is that Lady Marcel may have been ordered to take part in a cover-up that involved switching the materials from Roswell for a common weather balloon. General Ramey and the Air Force now discounted what the radio press announcement that they had found a flying saucer. The story is officially dead. But back in Roswell, those who had reported the original story found that the military would behave somewhat strangely over what they now claim was merely a weather balloon. Frank Joyce had been the first to announce the original news on local radio station KGFL just a few hours earlier.
I got a phone call. I got a number of phone calls, but the one that really got my attention was reportedly from the Pentagon. There was some lady on the line saying, Colonel so-and-so, this is the Pentagon calling. And this was in a few minutes of it going on the line. And the voice on the line says, who is this? Did you put that story on the air about the flying saucer? I mean, his voice was, really conveys minutes power. And I said, yes, I did. And he says, we're going to get a lot of trouble with this or with some threatening comment. And I said, look, I'm a civilian. You can't talk to me this way. You can't treat me this way. You can't tell me what to do in stories I put on the air. And he says, I'll show you what I can do. And bang, hung up the phone.
Now the voice at the other end of the line showed exactly what he could do. He owned the radio station.
I got a call from Washington, one of the officers, one of the senators saying, look, if you put out any stories on this thing, you're going to lose your license. It's not going to be, with a period of time, it's going to be the same day that we play it, that you're off the air.
Frankie wrote, the fireman's daughter who had handled some material, had always regarded the Army Air Force in Roswell as friends at the time. But an unexpected visit from the military to her home would now cast him in a sinister new light.
He had this club, stick as what it was, and he was beating it on his head. And he could, I mean, technically, his hand. And he said, I want you to know you were never there. I didn't understand what he meant. So I said, yes, I was. And he said, no, you weren't. I said, yes, I was. And he said, can't you get this through your head? You never saw anything. You were not there. You don't know anything. And he said, no, this is a big desert out there. We can just take you out in the middle of this desert and no one will ever find your body. He said, there'll be nothing but bombs and nobody will ever know what happened. And I told him I would not talk about it.
If it were not for the threat, the entire Roswell affair would be viewed as nothing more than an embarrassing mistake. But in 1965, Butch Blanchard, now a four-star general, attended a reunion visit to Roswell, and the incident had not been forgotten.
He had been commander here in 1947. And, I was at a table with the general and several other locals when they were interrogating him about the 1947 incident. And he declined to answer any of the questions except he did comment that it was the damnedest thing he'd ever seen.
He never would discuss it. Several months later, I'll tell you this. Paraphrasing. How he said it. In essence, he said, what I saw, I saw.
incident remained a dark secret. Town and military maintained an uneasy silence. The story didn't see the light of day until 1978, when Jesse Marcel, the 509th intelligence officer, went public with an appearance on American television.
I was amazed at what I saw. And how regularly the shadows over the bridge. It took me a while to realize that there's something strange about it. But the more I saw the Congress, the more I realized that it wasn't anything that I was afraid of. I proved I found murder and being done. I tried to break it, but it was not good. Because it seems allowed, I'm sure there was no reason to keep it under cover that long. The neighbors said that there's another reason why we didn't have television on when they were here, until we found out we were about it. I sent them to there was a cover up someplace, and I just told them out.
In 1947, General Rainey's chief of staff was Colonel Thomas DeBose. Shortly before he died, he was interviewed on home video. As a retired brigadier general, he is the highest ranking officer ever to comment on the Roswell incident. General McMullen, deputy head of Strategic Air Command of the Pentagon, was in charge of the entire operation, according to General McMullen.
Someone told me, you are not the consultant. This is one subject. This is more than possible. Beyond this, it's within my priority as deputy to join Senate and be in turn responsible for the President. This is the highest priority that you will.
The revelation of the DeBose suggested the American Air Force did indeed have something important to hide.
There's no question about that. General DeBose said that specifically to us. The balloon explanation of the Air Force office was a cover story. You get the reporters on General Rainey's back. So we have a wide body of testimony to cover up. We have military witnesses saying they which one to shoot. We have radio employees telling us that they were told if they broadcast the interview with Matt Frankl, they better look for a new job because they'd be out of the radio business the next day. We can show that beyond a doubt of a doubt. The question is what will it hide?
What could the Air Force have been hiding for the last 20 years? One man was able to use to distract Cotton. Cotton claimed that in 1947 he was a master sergeant and personnel at Roswell Park. What was not known at the time was that he was also a covert member behind the secret counterintelligence unit coded the Nine. Tonight, Cotton reveals for the first time in his famous
some of the wild things drove into the issue. The lane was very rough. There was no road. We saw this goal like easy now. We got to 200 yards, 800 yards, it was. We were going like that. It wasn't the plane, it wasn't the truck. And it was strange looking craft that was embedded in the Arroyo. The size of the craft has, say, possibly maybe 20, 25 feet in length. It was open halfway. One body was going up against the wall of the Arroyo. The other one was half in, half out of the sand. And we were getting close to the other two trucks. And we loaded it back to the base and had a little truck flatbed and clear everything up.
Van Cotton provided us with what he thought was a copy of the official report of the Buffalo News. A top-secret document containing observation and sketches of what he saw at the time. This is the actual site where Corky says he saw the strange craft for the first time. This is the artist's impression of the alien, based on Corky's own description.
You know, it's one thing that you're curious about. They call the mortuary here preserve the bodies.
The base also implied about the availability of child science properties, and later there was another thing found.
Now we see how later demonstrated what would it do to the blood count going forward with the issue and that was what
Then Dennis had the ambulance contract to carry any of the service to the base. That same day, he took the man into the hospital and was amazed to find himself being roughly escorted off the base by military police, who told him he had no right to be there.
they were taking me out to the facility. Had a fellow that was supposed to be he was recognized me, but then get out of there.
that's when that finger was open, and Johnson was cracking him out. He said, "Let's just supply here." He said, "Well, he would get them out of there. He can just put him in the so why was it? They didn't lay down the work. He's not on his own. Was there. Why was it?
There were other witnesses who strayed the course of the day. Lyman Dan Wire told George Clemens what he had seen.
See, it did not come from this world. It did not look like anything he had never seen. And he said there were little people out there. My mother asked him what he meant by little people, and he said they weren't human people, but they were little people. He said there were two that were already dead when they got there. And they were put in body bags. I don't know if the one that was still alive was put into the bags or if someone took it at the time. There was one that was still alive and was walking around.
At the sheriff's office, Sheriff Wilcox Wright later confirmed with what he said.
Drug records find some, and that they even found some bodies. One of them was alive, and that the Army corporal did not take him and taking my father and his family. He did not leave them from the law now.
According to Frank Horton, the Devlin body reflects the Air Force intelligence report that Wright produced. And another consignment, the Central Andrews Air Force Base in Washington.
I think all the industry is record. There's no proof. Fact is, this is of you have to accept it. You don't.
There is no independent evidence corroborating Frank's story, proving his involvement in clandestine operations in the with the injuries to military personnel. The lack of tangible evidence is a consistent feature of operations. But early in 1995, sensational films allegedly shot by American cameraman appeared in London. After a reported the crash had been endured, he was sat down to a white man in Texas and a week and a half steering up the area. He also explained that when he first arrived at the time, the area had been cordoned off and activity, no one that anywhere near the vehicle, the ground surrounding the spot. The recruiters were all landing by the side, obviously dropping on boxes and leaving that out. And after a few hours, when the concern, the usual by all the lead members. Ray Sampson came into negotiations for 3 years to find this story. He's the only person who knows the identity of the criminal who shot him. According to Santini, the poor quality is explained by the circumstance under which it was filmed. When he tells you that the camera had no gun, when he tells you that he was came after the time, and when he tells you that the camera had a big photo, that when they didn't do it, there was no way of controlling it. It's possible, it's still like a possible time to already have the other question is, well, why is it without looking at the body? So his argument is the surgeons were bending over it all the time, and nobody could get to see him by moving around. And the camera that was detailed in video had been brilliant. It's a hand-based camera. Despite the people requests, Ray Santini was made into a parts pressure of the public and the congressman forced the company to launch their own investigation. In July 1994, the official report admitted for the first time that the original revenue story was in fact a lie, designed to cover up the reviewing tax reform. This is still a project only. A top secret project designed to get sound and soon be a promised test. The Air Force report states that Project Blue offers the most likely explanation for the Roswell incident.
I suspect in Airplane 4, report on the moon, probably the source of the debris remains found. Not recovered, and the record indicates that the B-17 abandoned tracking. Well, in the Air Force, and memory, they were going to count for Airborne. Just north of Pakistan, about 17 miles, where three was later found.
Curiously, the examination of the actual flight data at the time revealed that there was no record of the existence of flight number 4 or 15, the one the Air Force explained as the Roswell incident. Hall says no record exists as no data was entered for unsuccessful flights. Other flights that were unsuccessful are clearly documented. Discrepancies such as these have led many to doubt the Air Force's insistence that Project Nova is in fact an answer to the Roswell mystery. On Capitol Hill, the representative of New Mexico, Congressman Stephen Schiff, was suspicious of the number of different explanations offered for the years.
We've had three different explanations from the military level of defense. The first explanation is flying different, meaning flying saucers is coming out. They changed that and said we made a mistake. It wasn't a flying disc, it was a weather balloon. I still find it amazing that the United States top bomber wing is the only wing that was eligible to carry nuclear weapons after this time. We do not know any weather balloons, well, I thought, but 2010. So we then have the second explanation, weather balloons. Now the third explanation is this part of the highly classified. We have three separate explanations for what can be built to be something.
It is indeed a balloon. It could actually something else. And how does the controversial Indian film relate to the Roswell mystery? New Mexico is the most secret state in the union. Historically, its deserts and skies have been the center for more highly classified secret scientific projects than any other place on Earth. The suspicion is that some strange top-secret military experiment could lie behind the Roswell mystery. 50 years ago, the first atomic bomb detonated the nuclear test of nearby San. This summer, stealth warplanes were still on test flights in skies above New Mexico.